This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
Nigeria's debt servicing payments have surged by 69% in the first half of 2024. The federal government spent over 6 trillion naira settling debt. This is 50% of the total expenditure within the period. Data from the latest statistical bulletin of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN, shows that this amount is 162% of the 3.73 trillion naira total revenue generated during the period. What does this mean for our economy and how does it affect the common man on the streets? Joining us this morning to provide answers to your burning questions is Marcel Okeke, former chief economist at Zenith Bank. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Good morning, and thank you for having me around again.
Pleasure to have you every time. Now, so help us understand what this means for our economy. Break it down, so the average man on the streets can actually understand it.
Well, according to the figures you have presented, can now see that more than everything we are earning, goes into debt servicing. And what that means is that the government continues to borrow, and to borrow from all sources. Because as we speak, what you read in the news or hear in the news all the time is that government is borrowing from IMF, borrowing from World Bank, borrowing from African Development Bank, borrowing from Afrexim Bank, borrowing from China, and so on and so forth, and even locally here. So what that means is that government is living on borrowed money all the time. Meaning that what it is, if the revenue it is even making is not enough to service debt. That's what it means, directly.
Yeah, but when borrowings are discussed, the focus is usually on the federal government. Do states actually have a part to play in it, or is it just the federal government that engages in the seemingly impulsive habit?
Well, if you break down the entire public debt, there's what is called the subnational component, meaning the state. But the truth is that the states cannot borrow without the approval of the federal government. So to have the total picture, you put everything together and get the aggregate, because the federal government that approves every debt that the subnational is to insure. Since it has to do with entities or countries that are outside of this place. So the federal government has to give approval, and so we have to put everything together, because at the end of the day, they are subnational, meaning that they are under the federal government. That's how to get the total picture.
One final question, because we're pressed for time this morning. The figures that we presented this morning are quite startling. Now, if the federal government spent over 6 trillion naira settling debt, which is about 50% of the total expenditure within the period, right? And, data from the latest statistical bulletin of the CBN saying that 162% of the 3.73 trillion naira total revenue generated during the period. What does this mean for the common man on the streets? How does this actually affect him, or perhaps it's not his business?
The implication is that the government has no money to engage in any effective development of the economy. Okay, that's the meaning, that the man on the street is denied, the economic development that we should be having. Okay, and even the various ways the government will be handling the welfare and well-being of the citizenry is no longer there, because whatever is gotten goes into debt servicing. That's the reason, and that is playing out. Because if you look around, where is the infrastructure? The new infrastructure, even the existing ones, and in a very dilapidated shape, and so on and so forth. So you can see the country is overgeared. That's what is called in accounting. In other words, you are owing much more than what you are making in terms of income. Okay, so it's a very dangerous situation, and we don't know how the government is going to solve that. It's a very dangerous situation, but we believe that with the new policies the government is putting in place, the fiscal policies, the monetary policies, and all that, the situation will be brought under control. We hope so. That's what I have to say for now.
All right. Thank you so much. We've been speaking to Marcel Okeke, former chief economist at Zenith Bank, and he's been speaking to us on our rising debt profile. Well, thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
And thank you to you too as well for listening to us this morning here on Now Breakfast on Radio Now 95.3 FM. The conversations continue.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.